Have you ever thought what really happened between Johnny Depp and Amber Heard? They were once Hollywood's most talked about couple, and then after some years, their love story turned into one of the biggest celebrity breakups ever. So how did it happen, and how did everything change so fast? Stay with me, because the truth behind their breakup is more complicated and more surprising than you think. The first connection. Johnny Depp and Amber Heard met in 2009 on the set of The Rum Diary, a film that quietly existed until their relationship gave it a second life. Johnny was already Hollywood royalty, known for his eccentric charm and permanent aura of mystery. Amber was younger, ambitious, and still climbing the industry ladder. They noticed each other, sparks flew, and then life politely got in the way. Johnny was still in a long-term relationship, and Amber was focused on her career. Years later, timing finally lined up. They reconnected, and this time there was nothing subtle about it. Their relationship moved fast, like they were trying to outrun common sense. Interviews were full of poetic compliments, intense stares, and that unmistakable energy of two people convinced they had found something rare. Friends described it as passionate, consuming, and exhausting, which, in hindsight, feels less romantic and more like a warning label. They married in 2015 in a private ceremony. To the public, it looked intimate and romantic. Behind the scenes, though, the emotional volume was already turned up high. This wasn't a slow, steady love. It was fireworks every day, and fireworks eventually ran out. And once the spark fades, you start noticing the smoke. Marriage under pressure. From the outside, it looked like a fairy tale, but behind closed doors, the marriage was already straining. Marriage didn't bring peace. It brought amplification. Every emotion grew louder, every disagreement heavier. Both Johnny and Amber would later describe a relationship fueled by intense passion, frequent arguments, and dramatic reconciliations. They loved hard, but they fought just as hard. It was the kind of relationship where calm never felt safe. Quiet moments didn't mean stability. They felt like a pause before the next storm, as if everyone involved was bracing for impact. The highs were high, the lows were crushing, and the cycle kept repeating. Amber said Johnny struggled with substance use and unpredictable moods that made the relationship unstable. Johnny said Amber was controlling, verbally aggressive, and emotionally manipulative. At the time, none of this was visible to the public. On red carpets, they smiled. In interviews, they spoke warmly about each other. Hollywood has always been skilled at hiding chaos behind polished images. By 2016, the pressure finally broke through the surface. Amber filed for divorce just 15 months after the wedding. That alone shocked fans. But what followed changed everything. Amber accused Johnny Depp of domestic abuse and requested a restraining order. Photos surfaced, statements were released, headlines spread faster than facts. Overnight, this stopped being just another celebrity breakup. It became a serious and deeply uncomfortable accusation unfolding in public view. Once the story escaped into the headlines, there was no controlling it. Public accusations. The moment the abuse allegations became public, everything changed overnight. What had once been a private breakup suddenly became a public storm. News outlets jumped in fast. Social media exploded just as quickly. Every post, every clip, every rumor turned the internet into a courtroom where everyone was judge, jury, and very loud commentator. Johnny Depp's reputation took a sharp and painful turn. Studios didn't wait for answers. They grew cautious. Meetings stopped. Calls went quiet. Projects disappeared without explanation. The Hollywood version of being left on red. Years of goodwill vanished in months. Amber Heard became a symbol of speaking out. Johnny became the face of accusation before any verdict was reached. He denied the claims and said he was the one dealing with emotional abuse. But denials don't spread like headlines do. His side struggled to be heard. His career slowed, then stalled completely. For someone who had spent decades being celebrated, the fall was sudden and brutal. In 2018, Amber wrote an opinion piece describing herself as a survivor of domestic abuse. Johnny wasn't named, but the message felt clear to the public. Johnny later said that the article damaged his career beyond repair. He wasn't just losing movie roles, he was losing how the world saw him. His name now came with a question mark. That was the breaking point. Johnny decided not to stay silent anymore. He filed a defamation lawsuit against Amber Heard, not behind closed doors, not quietly. This would play out in public, with cameras watching and opinions forming in real time. Every detail would come out. The trial. In December 2018, Amber Heard wrote an opinion piece for The Washington Post titled, "I spoke up against sexual violence and faced our culture's wrath. That has to change." Though she never mentioned Johnny Depp by name, the implications were crystal clear. She described herself as a public figure representing domestic abuse and detailed the backlash she faced for speaking out. For Depp, this was the final straw. He believed the article destroyed what remained of his career and reputation, leading major studios to distance themselves from him. He lost his role in the Fantastic Beasts franchise, and his status as one of Hollywood's biggest stars seemed to crumble overnight. In 2019, Depp filed a $50 million defamation lawsuit against Heard, claiming her allegations were false and had cost him everything. Heard countersued for $100 million, alleging that Depp's lawyer had publicly defamed her by calling her claims a hoax. The case finally went to trial in April 2022 in Fairfax, Virginia, and it became a cultural phenomenon unlike anything the world had seen before. Cameras were allowed in the courtroom, and every moment of the 6-week trial was broadcast live. Millions of people around the globe tuned in daily, watching as both Depp and Heard took the stand and testified about their relationship in excruciating detail. The trial became the most talked about topic on social media, with hashtags like #JusticeForJohnnyDepp trending worldwide. TikTok videos dissecting trial moments went viral, memes flooded Twitter, and public opinion swayed heavily in Depp's favor. Depp described a volatile relationship where he claimed Heard was often the aggressor, alleging that she had thrown bottles at him during a fight in Australia in 2015, one of which severed the tip of his finger. He showed the jury his injured finger and recounted how he lied to doctors at the time to protect Heard. Heard, on the other hand, testified about horrific abuse, claiming Depp had slapped her, choked her, and even sexually assaulted her during their marriage. She described incidents where she feared for her life, where Depp's jealousy and addiction turned him into a monster. Both sides presented audio recordings, text messages, and witness testimonies, each painting the other as the villain in their story. On June 1, 2022, the jury delivered their verdict. They found that Heard had defamed Depp on all 3 counts related to her Washington Post article and awarded him $10 million in compensatory damages and $5 million in punitive damages, though the judge reduced the punitive amount to $350,000 due to state law. However, the jury also found that Depp had defamed Heard through his lawyer's statements, awarding her $2 million in compensatory damages. It was a significant victory for Depp, but both had been found liable to some degree. Aftermath. After the trial, Johnny Depp slowly re-emerged. He returned to music, acting, and public appearances, looking like someone who had survived something rather than simply won. Fans supported him fiercely. The applause felt less about movies and more about validation. Amber Heard took a quieter path. She stepped away from Hollywood, moved abroad, and focused on living privately. She continued to stand by her version of events, even as public opinion grew harsh. So, what do you think really happened between Johnny Depp and Amber Heard? Was it love gone wrong, or something much deeper? Let me know in the comments. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more stories like this. Thanks for watching.